Hey guys, it's Wengie here. Today I'm doing part 2 of my diet journey, and today I'll be talking about sort of the experiences I went through while I was on a diet and basically talk through how I kind of went about going on my diet. To give you guys a bit of background of how much weight I lost 7 kilos over the period of 3 months. So I'll be talking about how I did that. Keep in mind, I'm not a diet expert, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not here to give you any official medical or health advice. I'm just pretty much sharing with you guys my diet story, so definitely take it as that. For those of you guys that didn't get to watch part 1, I've linked it down below. That was pretty much talking through my diet story, pretty much what I weighed through my life from when I was kind of like a baby through primary school, high school. So check that out if you haven't seen it already. I encourage you guys to watch that first. So to give you guys a bit of background about why I started wanting to go on a diet and to lose weight, it was pretty much because I suddenly realized I gained a lot of weight, and you know, it was a period of my life where I didn't really weigh myself regularly. If you watch part 1 of my story, you realize that I have a pretty fast metabolism. I've never had any major issues with my weight. I've always been kind of underweight or on the skinny side simply because I was born that way as my genes, and also I have a really small bone structure which makes me weigh less as well. As you get older, it's actually harder to eat at the same rate. Now, for those of you guys that actually have a fast metabolism, you'll be lucky enough to experience the fact that you could pretty much eat whatever you want, junk food, you can overeat all the time and still remain stick skinny. Now, that was the case for me, but suddenly, you know, without my knowledge, I suddenly put on a lot of pounds, and because you're kind of looking at yourself every single day, you don't really realize the weight you've put on. You just kind of feel the same, and it wasn't until I kind of saw myself, you know, like when you look at photos or videos and things and you look at yourself, you look at it more objectively than you do every day in the mirror. I'm not sure why that is, but then I realized I put on a lot of weight. I stepped on the scales that I hadn't stepped on in a long time. I realized I put on like 7 kilos since my natural weight, and when I refer to natural weight, I'm just referring to how much you weigh when you eat healthy and you eat the right proportions for your body. So not really putting a BMI sort of average on your weight. And I feel like it's really important to know what your natural weight is. And for those of you guys that are keen on the medical standard of BMI, I don't actually feel that it is always applicable to everyone. I know people that were born underweight and they pretty much spent the whole life trying to fit into that BMI standard, and it was basically impossible for them because they never put on weight no matter what they did. They went to the doctors and they couldn't help them. So I think it's really important to know what your baseline weight is when you eat healthy, you eat the right proportions, you do a regular amount of exercise, and you don't over or under eat. And my weight at that time was 42 kilos, and yeah, I pretty much blew it mainly because I ate a lot more than I should have. I pretty much ate an extra meal at about 12 a.m. every night. In addition, I always had like chips in the house, and I would always have like chips and like dip it in avocado like really late at night as an extra meal. That was definitely overeating and not eating right. I would drink a lot of sugary drinks, like soft drinks as well, and I hadn't actually done that for a long time. I had been relatively healthy, but I sort of moved in with my boyfriend at the time, and I think when you live with someone, their sort of dietary habits really rub off on you, and he was able to eat everything and still remain skinny because he still had a really great metabolism. I didn't. I ate the same, and then I definitely gained a lot of weight from that. When I started dieting, it was the hardest thing ever. I think for you guys that are like looking to go on a diet and have never been or never been able to stick to it, I think it's one of those things where we kind of all know what to do. Like, there is a ton of information about how to go on a diet. There's, you know, lots of articles online. I don't think that's the hard part. Knowing how to diet, I feel, is not the difficult part. The hardest part about going on a diet, especially for me that had never had to look after what they ate, was pretty much the self-control I had to have to stick to, you know, the regular meals and the calorie intake that I was supposed to have while losing weight. That was so hard because I was the kind of person that was like, I feel like eating, you know, chips right now, I'm gonna go eat it, or I'm craving KFC and I'm just gonna go have it right now. I've never really had to limit myself through my whole entire life. So that was like the hardest part for me, being able to curb those cravings for junk food and what I regularly ate as a habit, and then making sure I ate healthy instead. And actually, healthy food, when you start going on a diet, healthy food tastes so bland. I mean, if you're used to eating high sugar, high sodium meals like snacks or KFC or junk food, you'll realize that eating healthy food is going to be really, really different for you. Also, I cut a lot of carbs out of my diet because carbs were kind of one of those empty calorie things that I could have eaten something nutritious instead. And it's much easier to stick to a limited calorie intake while eating a lot of veggies and getting your nutrients that way than filling it up with empty carbs like white rice. And I think, yeah, for those of you guys all going on a diet, that's going to be the hardest thing you'll ever experience, and that's what I experienced, especially when I was in a habit of eating at like 12 a.m. I was about to go to bed, and I always loved to eat before I slept, and that's so bad for you. But every time like I craved it, it was really hard to hold back and not eat. I started off basically replacing what I ate. So instead of having chips and avocado, I try and eat like a salad or a chicken salad instead. So I didn't really go cold turkey and not eat at all, because that would have been way too hard for me, because it was just like a habit I had. So I started doing this swap it, don't stop it thing, which is a really good idea if you don't really have self-control to go on a diet either. It's just swapping slowly the things that you used to have for a healthier version. And I've been kind of just doing that consistently over time. If you pretty much swap all the unhealthy things and the high calorie things in your diet, over time you'll start to be able to stick to a much lower calorie intake without really feeling like you're missing out. There were two major things that I used while I was going on a diet that really helped me. One was my Fitness Pal, and if you watch my other diet videos, I highly commend going on it. And even for research purposes, the reason why is it pretty much calculates a healthy calorie intake for you for your weight loss goal. So it does that for you as soon as you sign on. You tell them your height, your weight, and it'll tell you how many calories you need to eat per day to get to your goal. They don't condone drastic weight loss methods either, so they pick a healthy sort of calorie intake for you to do and give you expectations that it'll take, you know, a certain amount of months before you reach that goal weight. I feel like crash diets are a really bad way to go because you're going to gain it really quickly afterwards. Changing your overall eating habits will be a way to stick to your new ideal weight as well. So crash diets and fad diets to me aren't really something I like to use or something I actually even considered while losing weight. What I learned from my Fitness Pal was basically how many calories all the food I ate was. That's really important if you want to go on a diet, is really just to get the knowledge about what you're putting into your body. And you'll be like super surprised at the amount of calories some things you eat. It feels insignificant when you eat it, but the amount of calories is simply crazy compared to maybe like a healthier alternative. So one example I really love to share is pretty much you can have 11 Doritos chips, or you can pretty much have a fried egg on toast combination if you do it healthy. That's kind of like the same calories, but you get a lot more full with the egg on toast than with 11 Doritos chips. So you can see that without knowing how much calories you're eating, you can actually overeat in terms of calories without even knowing and still feel hungry at the end of the day. The first thing I did when I was dieting was learn how much calories each food item has. Until this day, I pretty much learned so much that I can just look at something now and kind of guesstimate the amount of calories in that particular meal. You also find the importance of serving sizes. You realize in most Western countries, serving sizes are way too big for you, especially if you're of a small build. Like if you think about it, they serve the same serving size to men and women, even though women have a much lower calorie intake than men do. And that's just something that you need to know and be aware of. So don't eat everything that you're given. Just know how much you're supposed to eat and eat that much and take it away. You can turn one meal into 2 meals and save a lot of money at the same time. And yeah, those are the kind of things I started learning. And the other thing that I really used a lot was a diet tea that I heard was really good. So I just ordered it off the internet. It was called Oolong tea, I think. But anyways, it was endorsed by Oprah as a diet tea, and I pretty much drank that religiously. And normal tea can actually reduce the amount of calories you have by like 70 per meal, just because it increases your metabolism and it does good things to your body. Keep in mind that through a lot of comments as well, you guys also mentioned that tea can reduce the amount of iron that your body absorbs. So be careful not to use this method for a long period of time or take iron supplements while you're doing it. But I basically did this for 3 to 6 months, and you'll find that when you drink it, it actually makes you flush things out of your system. So be prepared to go to the toilet a lot. This is one side effect of drinking the tea regularly, like 3 times a day. You'll find that you'll be going to the toilet a lot more and flushing all the food out of your body. And you might be quite runny as well while you're doing it, so that's not really the best image I can give to you. And I wouldn't actually use this tea that frequently for a long period of time. I think it's a good thing to use initially to get the ball rolling, getting some momentum with your weight loss. I definitely don't drink this tea that regularly anymore. While I was trying to reach my goal weight, I pretty much used it religiously. And I guess when you flush the food out of your system quickly, like you'll feel lighter and you'll feel like much slimmer anyways as a side effect. I think it might be good if you're going to an event and you want to, you know, slim down for that event. But yeah, not a long-term solution. Definitely works as a short-term solution. So that's something else I did while I went on a diet. In terms of the actual diet, in 3 months, I actually lost all the weight and I got to my goal weight of 42 again. And I was really excited about that. And you'll find that during the diet process, it'll be hard because one, you won't notice any like weight loss. I think weight loss is so subtle that it takes a period of time for you to realize, but while you're in the zone of losing weight, you won't feel like you're losing weight. So it might feel hard because you have to change all these lifestyle habits that you had and were comfortable with and that made you happy. But you don't notice anything different about your body for a while. So that's something that I went through that I thought was really hard, and you guys might experience as well in terms of going on a diet. The other thing you'll realize is sometimes you can't actually be like a normal social person with your friends, because I became really obsessed with losing weight, and people don't want to hear, you know, all this weight loss talk from someone that they think looked skinny. So that's one thing that you'll get as well. You might feel, I guess, socially awkward. Second thing is eating out is not going to be good for you during this time when you want to lose weight. When I was losing weight, I never ate out. I made all my meals. I brought my meals to work. If I ate out, I would only limit it to once per week, because when you eat out, you realize you don't know what they put in the food. Like, it could just take 1 tablespoon of oil extra in your meal to throw you off your calorie count, and you don't know when you go to a restaurant. You don't know what they put in it. You don't know how much sugar they put in it. So it's actually really scary to eat out when you're trying to go on a diet and lose weight. And you'll find that when your friends invite you out, it's going to be very difficult for you to go and eat the same amount. They might look at you funny. I basically had not much of a social life for a while or I avoided situations where we ate as a social thing, but I started switching everything to coffees instead of dinner or lunch, because then I could just have a coffee and not really have to eat a meal outside. So that was a bit difficult for me as well. Made you feel really socially awkward during that period of time if you really want to stick to your diet. And I think that's something that I realized about dieting. It made me a lot more self-disciplined, and you have to give up a lot of things that you are comfortable with to pretty much get to your goal. And I think that's with any goal. If you want to do something, I think you will have to be willing to give up some things in the process. And I think a few of the things that will help is to let your friends know ahead of time why you're being antisocial or that you can't eat out with them. Those kind of things help, and let them know, and that makes them prepared for what you're doing. Same with your parents. You might find that the meals that your parents cook may be actually really high in calories and not good for you. And we can't choose what our family cooks. Luckily, my family cooked really healthy. It's just that it was a problem when I actually cooked myself. My meals became really unhealthy because I went for whatever was fast, efficient, and easy. Yeah, so it will mean you have to learn cooking skills as well. I learned to cook a lot of low calorie things. I started changing kind of the ingredients I used. I put all the oil into little spray cans. I used less, I just covered. I started using non-stick pans more, so I didn't have to use as much oil. I replaced the kind of sugar I used, and slowly you'll change your ingredients. I made it easy for myself. I stuck to a few ingredients that I knew were healthy and low in calories, and I just found different ways to eat them during the week, and that made things easy. So my pick was tomatoes, cucumber, lettuce, lean meat. Turkey was a really low calorie meat as well, so I used a lot of turkey and turkey mince, and just different ways of cooking. Oh, also broccoli was a really good and healthy low calorie thing to eat, and really clear mung bean noodle that was made from beans, I guess, so it wasn't really like carbs, and it was a lot less calories than having rice or anything. So I just replaced what I ate and just ate monotonous meals with the same ingredients for 3 months, but it really helped me stick to my diet, and it made things easier when I was cooking and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today with regards to my diet experience and the things I kind of learned. Yeah, so if you're looking for more like actual information and tips, I've linked all the resources I've created in the description box below. I've got a blog post that details 10 different methods that I used while I was dieting, and I have some other more detailed videos that goes into specifics about my actual diet. But this is pretty much the journey I went through. At the end of the 3 months, it will all be worth it. Changing your habits, eating differently, being a social outcast, learning self-discipline, changing the way you look at food, and even the way you enjoy food. Soon you'll realize that unhealthy food will taste disgusting and you can't eat it anymore. That means you're on the right track and you're getting healthy habits and you're on your way. So yeah, after, you know, the 3 months or however long it takes for you to get to your goal weight, it will all be worth it. It will be hard during the process, trust me, and it will be very uncomfortable. But if you're determined to do it, do it. And I only recommend you do it if it's your natural and healthy weight. Don't try and go underweight. Your body will retaliate and tell you, no, you're too skinny, and it will try and hold on to all the calories, and maybe you'll end up putting on weight. And I highly recommend, if you're unsure about what your natural or healthy weight is, go see a doctor and get some medical advice. I think this is definitely a very personal thing between you and of course your doctor as well. And make sure you get some sound advice before doing any drastic weight loss. And I encourage you guys to ask me any questions that you want me to answer as well that I haven't covered. I have so much to say, but I don't really want to put it all in one video and make it super long. So yeah, use the comment section to ask me any particular specific questions that you have. In the future, I'll probably do a FAQ video as well and answer your questions. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. I really enjoyed sharing the diet journey with you. Remember that self-discipline is key to this whole process, and it's very hard as well. And I wish you guys the best of luck in developing your healthy eating habits. It's so important and something that you will be thankful for the rest of your life. Remember to thumb up this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!